Okay, so let's talk about Glinda's look a little bit. You have described her as a kind of Dior meets Marie Antoinette vibe.
That's right.
What are some codes? I mean, she wears pink. She's very flirty. But what I take the most from Glinda is that she's very status quo. She's very fearful, especially in juxtaposed to Elphaba, right? Like that these two friends in their adolescence who are very different. One of them is a loner and has a lot of grit and has a lot of soul and pays the price for that. And then you have the other person who is super popular and is always going to do what everybody wants her to do, doesn't want to take any risks. Like, Elfie, come down. Why did you have to fly off the handle? Let's not push the limit. So how do you decide how Glinda's going to look?
The same as with Elphaba. Their end icon or the iconic image is for Glinda, it is Billie Burke in the lovely pink gown that she wears when she comes in on the bubble.
So that's your iconography, Glinda, is the bubble moment.
That's right. It is because it is, I think that it's the one that is emblazoned in most of our brains.
Yeah.
Because there is a huge fan base for the original Broadway musical, but not everyone has seen the original Broadway musical. And I trust that my vision can be universal enough that other people will align with what my vision is. There is something about the idea of pink in our overall culture, how we see pink. It is a color of youth. It's a color of the ingenue. It's the color of softness. It is sweet. It is lovely. And I urge the, John and the producers that we have that be her end moment. They weren't able to use pink because of the studio. There was a studio difference from the original Wizard of Oz to Wicked. So that's how they ended up changing the color of Glinda's dress for the musical. Is that because the color of the dress for the musical is blue. So that bubble dress is blue. It's sparkly. It's lovely.
And why was the reason for that?
It's because the contractually they couldn't use the color that was used for the Warner Brothers film.
It's like an IP thing.
It was an IP thing. Yeah. So the original Glinda doesn't look anything like any of our Glindas. I mean, the original illustration for Glinda that's in the Frank L. Baum book is in a kind of a flowing gown. She's not in a ball dress. It's a crinoline ball gown, a fairy princess dress. But I thought that it was useful in telling the story of her track, and it also created a strong contrast between those two characters that I could then kind of shape around or, sculpt around. So you see, pink being used in her stripe, which is a bespoke stripe, bespoke shiz stripe that creates all of her uniforms. Her blouses are pink, it was the idea of those things as we get deeper into her story. It's those things that are airborne, those things that relate to the bubble, those things that feel effervescent. But, her life has been laid out for her. Everything has been given to her. She's been provided for. She hasn't had to struggle for anything. And she's actually, in that, she hasn't had to search for who she really is either. She's never been tested for who she actually is inside. Because everybody, she was, born beautiful and was, she was cultured to be that, for everyone, and then realized, oh, I can use this. So that's my superpower, is to be lovely. And there are people that walk around today who, you know, we know
Tell me
people
about it.
who,
Yeah.
you know, that where that is their reality.
And there's a naivete that comes with not having ever been tested. So even though Glinda thinks that she's doing the right thing and she's at Chiz and she's carrying her book, there's almost like a false confidence that comes with it. You don't really know how much you don't know.
Right.
Because you've been sheltered so much. So there's a like almost like a dumb blonde thing that they're able to do with her character that is like laughable because you're like, well, you don't know because you've never really had to find out.
Right. And the turn, I mean, I think that the beautiful pivot that she does, and it's the Ozda's ballroom where she realized that she really has hurt someone, and you realize that this person does have a heart. There is empathy built into this person's personality. You know, so it took some leaves to kind of fall away, some layers to fall away, but it's there. You know, having to roommate with someone who is completely different from who you are, it helps you to see yourself. And you know, I think that you don't understand it until that proximity.
Yeah.
But then in designing, I can use that essence or the idea of that in informing how I see these different characters. So, you know, for Glinda or Galinda into Glinda, you know, it is tracking that idea of perfection, that our artificial perfection that is very curated, you know, and some of that was dipping into Dior, you know, and the 1950s had, you know, it holds a lot of those qualities, you know, in creating, you know, how we see women. And the acceptable place for women and how they relate to the world. And so that, you know, was, you know, a big inspiration for what her silhouettes might be.
So it's kind of this almost like this Pleasantville
Exactly.
kind of like housewife.
Exactly.
Indoctrinated.
Exactly. And then to create a clothing story that has variation as well, and then will transform. At the end of Wicked Part 1, the two of them are purposefully in silhouettes that have been stripped down and are very as similar as they will ever be, really. You know, Elphaba in her black dress, it has a slight bell, but very defined around her torso. You know, it's all very sculpted. And then for Galinda, it's similar.
What scene is this?
This is you know, when they go to meet the wizard. And so, but Glinda is out of her jacket, and so she's just in this pink, very simple dress, and Elphaba is in a black simple dress. I mean, it's not simple at all, but it's a black dress, similar silhouette, and it strips them down to what their essence is, which is okay. You know, storytelling wise, here we are. We've got to make a decision. You either trust me or you don't. You support me or you don't. We do the nice thing, the thing that is expected, the thing that everybody will be okay with, or we find ourselves who we know we need to be. Very, you know, consciously, I was pulling them into a space where they were talking the same language. They could speak the same language and understand where each of them was coming from. And then they make a choice. And then after that, they do what happens. I mean, you jump out of the window, or you align with the power that is in place.
I could cry thinking about it. It's just so intense. That moment, like, that moment when they're at the top of that thing, right? This moment you're basically talking about, kind of like, together we'll be the greatest team there's ever been, and kind of deciding, honestly, and we don't talk about this enough, it was actually so real that Glinda decided not to go. That was actually the most honest she'd had ever been, I felt, the whole movie. Because sometimes that happens when you have a friend who just doesn't have the balls to be that person.
Right.
Like, I'm just not that girl. I can't lie to you and act like I'm that girl. Like, I'm about to jump out this window with you right now. I'm too scared. It's not me. And then coupled with that, it kind of signifies this end of their adolescence where it's like, we're going to end up on two different sides of life. When we run into each other again, we will probably be in opposition. Like, you have those defining moments, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like,
definitely.
And it does come at the end of adolescence where you're leaving college or you're leaving this, you're developing your views or your political views or who you're dating. And it's like, this is where we're deciding who we're about to be. And this has been fun because while we were in this kind of like growth path, we could go out and party and drink and have fun and kind of not think about the hard things.
Right.
So when they get there and she decides not to go, I'm like, actually, that's her showing you her capacity.
Yeah.
And it's so heartbreaking when you meet people and they're showing you their limitation. They're like, I wish I could give you more than this, but this is where I max out as a person.
Right.
And when you're an alphaba, you're like, this can't be it. Like, we could do so much more, but it just shows that she's capable.
But I mean,
more.
I have to, add to that because there's this look that Cynthia gives, or that Elphaba gives, that you realize, I see you, and that's okay.
That Elphaba gives to Glinda.
Elphaba gives to Glinda.
Yeah, like,
I think
I'm not judging you.
Both of them get to that place, but it's like, I get it. But I still have to go.
Yeah.